Good morning. Thank you once again for joining us today. My name is Tiffany Wyatt, Contract Administrator for the Section 3 program, and I will be your tour guide for this portion of the training. There are two major goals for today's training. For those new to Section 3, the goal is to give you a better understanding of the program, its requirements and expectations. And for those who are currently working within the program, the goal is to clarify and fill in any gaps you may have about new program requirements and updates. Just a few housekeeping items before we begin. Participants who have pre-registered will receive a survey via email to complete. Your feedback, comments, and suggestions are valuable tools we will use to improve our future efforts to you. We kindly ask that you complete and submit them before the next session begins and indicate on the survey which session you attended. Participants who did not pre-register may access the survey in the chat box. On the survey, please include your email address to receive a copy of the presentation and indicate which session you attended. If you have questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat box and one of the Section 3 team members will respond. Today's presentation will be provided to you for reference. However, please reach out to a Section 3 team member if you require a one-on-one training session or a refresher after today. Without further ado, let's begin. First, I will introduce our department heads. Keith Bynum is the interim director and Crystal Boyce is our division manager. The Section 3 team includes Christian Bessie, Patricia Holcomb, and myself, Tiffany Wyatt. Today, we are going to discuss all topics that are on the screen, and I'm going to do my best to give you more context and unpack them as much as possible. But again, I will reiterate, if after today's presentation, although it's being provided to you, if you require more granular detail, if you require a one-on-one session, please reach out to our team members. The purpose of Section 3. The purpose of Section 3 of the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968 is to provide jobs, training, and contracting opportunities for low-income persons and businesses that substantially employ them through certain HUD grants and funding programs. In a nutshell, Section 3's purpose is to foster local economic development, improvements, and individual self-sufficiency. New federal regulations, effective November 2020. Until recently, Section 3 and the rules which govern them resided under 24 CFR Part 135. That regulation no longer exists. The rules that govern Section 3 are now under 24 CFR Part 75, which means that all contracts being executed from November 2020 should include 24 CFR Part 75. Section 3 benefits, and there are many. However, to keep this presentation moving along, I will just name a few. There are contracting, employment, and training opportunities generated for low and very low income persons and businesses that employ such individuals. Section 3 also helps businesses and workers foster relationships on community development projects. And it also provides preferences to certified business concerns and workers when opportunities arise. And we will discuss more about those opportunities for businesses and workers as we move on into the presentation where we discuss Ebids and EOAs. Section 3 definitions. There are many, but for this presentation's purposes, the ones that you will see reference a lot are the ones that are listed here. Contractors, subcontractors, Section 3 covered contracts, Section 3 covered projects, labor hours, which is a big one. The number of paid hours worked by persons on Section 3 projects. And we're going to discuss how the new regulations hones in on labor hours, low-income individuals, and youth build program. Section 3 threshold. Section 3 compliance applies to all contracts in excess of $100,000 for housing construction, rehabilitation, and public construction. Again, the magic number is $100,000. Numerical goal requirements. As many of you are aware, HUD's final rules issued in 2020 abandoned some numerical goals. However, HUD empowers entities with the autonomy to supplement program requirements. As such, we seeked and were given approval from HUD to continue the enforcement of all previous numerical goals, which are as follows. The contracting goals, 10% of the construction budget must be directed to Section 3 business concerns, and 3% of the non-construction budget must be directed to Section 3 business concerns. Can everyone please mute their mics for me? I'm getting a bit of feedback. Thank you. Thank you. The employment goal still remains. The employment goal still remains as 30% of all new employment opportunities must be directed to Section 3 workers. And the new ones, new labor hour goals, 25% of all labor hours performed must be by Section 3 workers, and 5% of all labor hours performed must be by Section 3 targeted workers. And we will talk about Section 3 workers and targeted workers and what that means in a few slides forward. Section 3 business concerns. With the inception of the new rules came new definitions for what defines a Section 3 business. Now, a Section 3 business is a business concern meeting at least one of the following criteria documented within the last 6-month period. Category 1 is now 51% of the business is owned and controlled by low-income persons. Category 2 now is 75% of the business labor hours performed over the prior 3-month period was by low-income persons. And category 3 is now 51% of the business is owned and controlled by current public housing residents or residents who currently live in Section 8 assisted housing. Section 3 worker and targeted worker. Program changes also retired the term Section 3 resident and replaced it with the term Section 3 worker, who are defined as any worker who currently fits or when hired within the past 5 years fit at least one of the following. A worker's income from the previous or current calendar year is below HUD income limits. The person is employed by a certified Section 3 business, or they are a participant in the Youth Bill program. A Section 3 targeted worker. New rules also include a targeted worker who are defined as a Section 3 worker who is employed by a Section 3 business concern or a worker who currently fits or when hired fit at least one of the following categories as documented within the past 5 years. A resident of public housing or Section 8 assisted housing, a resident of other public housing projects or Section 3 assisted housing managed by PHA that is providing assistance, or a participant in the Youth Bill program. Section 3 directories. Once a business and a worker are certified within the Section 3 program here at HCDD, they are listed in one of two directories, the Section 3 business directory and the worker directory. The Section 3 business directory, to receive numerical goal credit on City of Houston projects, businesses must be certified by and through HCDD. We are aware that HUD offers a self-certification, which is fantastic, except that certification cannot be accepted for you to receive numerical goal credits on HCDD projects. Businesses who receive their certification through our department are vetted to ensure they are viable, capable, and are doing business in the area they receive their certification. This means we review business tax returns, we request business performance references for services your company has rendered, and we also ask for proof of payment for those services, just to name a few of the items that our team reviews to ensure that your business is capable of performing the work in the area of the certification that you're seeking. This also ensures that our business directory maintains its integrity, and so that when those contracting opportunities that we will discuss later arise, we are confident that your business is fully capable to do the work that you're bidding out on. Currently, there are 172 certified businesses in our city's directory. We are looking to build this more. Therefore, we always ask that subcontractors performing on your projects complete the certification process as soon and at the earliest time possible. Section 3 worker directory. We also maintain a worker directory. The directory lists all workers who were certified through HCDD. HUD's new rule is heavily Section 3 worker focused, and only workers who are certified through ACDD count towards the new labor hour requirements. The worker directory is available on ACDD's website, and there are currently 558 certified workers. I'd like to note that some workers during the application process have opted out of having their information published on the website. For those of you who are currently working on ACDD projects where labor hour requirements there are labor hour requirements, please rest assured that going forward, we intend to email you both sides of that directory, because we understand that in order for you to provide us with accurate numbers for tracking purposes, you would need to see both sides of that directory to see which workers are certified, and so that you can update their worker profiles in LCP Tracker accordingly, and then our reporting information it's more accurate. Here again, just to reiterate, we have that published and non-published directory where the worker side of the area is concerned. Those workers opted in during their application process. There's that little item 8 on the application that they would have signed off, giving us the okay to go ahead and publish their information on the website. Those individuals receive email notifications about employment and training opportunities, as well as any life enriching opportunities that filter through our department. We then pass them on to those workers who have opted in having their information published. The ones that have not, the information is not public facing. It is not on our website. And these are the individuals that you would have to request. Those working on our project, you would have to request to see that side of it, and so that you can review it to see if there are any workers that are associated with any of the subcontractors performing on your project, so that you are able to then go into LCP Tracker, which we will talk about later, update their profiles, and that you then are receiving, when we pull those monthly numbers, you're going to receive accurate reflection of the true labor hours that is happening on your project. The Section 3 application processes, there's 2. For the business side of the house, that application is housed in B2G Now. B2G Now also house the business directory. So you can go on to the links that are provided here. Again, this presentation will be provided to you, so there's no need to write down this information right now, but this is where you would go to begin the application process for the business side of the house, as well as view the Section 3 business concerns directory. For the Section 3 worker, we now have a digital application, which can be accessed here. You would go online, and similar to when you would send in a paper application, you would go ahead, you would attach those required supporting documentation and submit it, and our team, whomever that application is assigned to, that team member will get back to you and process that application within 7 to 10 business days. And our first trivia question for today. So, what appendix is required to be included in all executed contracts for 100,000? Now, this is not like audience participation. I know we have some familiar faces here, and so I'd like to get some audience participation. Can someone give me an answer for what appendix is required to be included in all executed contracts over 100,000? Any guessers, any takers on this one? Come on, I know everyone has had their coffee by now. Thanks, Chris. Chris from Power Plumbing. Hi, Luther. Come on, we have over 40 people here. I'm going to wait for a few more. That answer is A, 24 CFR Part 75 is the appendix, is the regulation that must be included in all contracts beginning November 2020 and moving forward. Ebid, bid tabulations and employment opportunity announcements. When contracting opportunities arise throughout the duration of the project, an Ebid announcement must be submitted for dissemination to Section 3 businesses in ACDD's online directory. So those 172 businesses, we provide them whenever there are contracting opportunities on your projects. We ask that you submit an Ebid announcement. That announcement is included in your compliance form packet that most of you are familiar with, those who are working on our projects. You would submit that to us. We in turn then disseminate that out to our certified firms. The Ebid should be sent to the Section 3 contract administrator for dissemination to Section 3 businesses and HCDD's Section 3 directory. The contractor will review all bids received and should award contracts based on the Section 3 procurement guidelines, depending if the bid was for construction or non-construction. The contractor will submit a bid tabulation after all bids are received. The bid tabulation should indicate which awarded contracts were to a Section 3 business, if any, or indicate Section 3 bids were not received. If a contractor fails to meet numerical goal requirements, records that demonstrate efforts to comply with Section 3 goal requirements should remain readily available for reporting and auditing purposes. And this is an example of what the Ebid announcement form looks like. It is a new form in the compliance form packet. Please ensure that you're using the most current packet. This one is dated September 2021. I think there was a new update in December. So please just make sure that you're using the most current form when you're submitting your eBids. This is a sample bid tabulation that must be included with those bids that you receive. We require that you submit after the solicitation period, which is a period of 14 business days, that you submit the bid tabulation along with all of the supporting documents for the bids that you receive on that contracting opportunity. Employment Opportunity Announcement, or EOAs. New hire opportunities arise throughout the duration of the project, and when they do, an employment opportunity announcement must be submitted for dissemination to Section 3 workers in HCDD's online directory. Now, again, I'm just going to circle back a bit. The EOAs will only be received by the Section 3 workers that are on the published side of the house. The workers who have opted out of receiving any notifications do not receive the EOAs. HCDD must be notified of all results, similarly to the Ebid announcement. Result must include the name of the new hire, the Section 3 classification, and an explanation if a Section 3 worker was not selected. And this is a sample of the EOA form. Again, please ensure that you're using the most current form. Post-award activities. Post-award activities relate to those who you have bidded, you've won a contract, and now you're working within the program. The expectations are Section 3 participation plan with a letter of intent must be executed with pre-award services prior to scheduling the pre-construction meeting and obtaining notice to proceed. A pre-construction meeting will be held with the owner developer and prime contractor to discuss program rules and compliance expectations. Contracted compliance personnel and subcontractors are strongly encouraged to attend pre-construction meetings to ensure compliance requirements are understood before the project activity commences. We hold these pre-construction meetings regularly. It's in similar fashion to the training that you're receiving today. More specifically, we tend to hone in on the compliance form packet and those monthly requirements because that's the stage that you would be at. We strongly encourage you to have all of your key players attend those meetings, and so that they have a full understanding of the project's expectations. I know a lot of people get the contracts, and once the document is signed, they forget that there's paperwork that has to be done, and that paperwork can be a lot if you allow it to, for it to get behind you, and so it's important about time management. There's accurate reporting. We don't want to reject reports because you're missing filling in documents. You're not sending in things when they're due on due dates. And so please ensure that whomever is attending those pre-construction meetings, that they're there with their ears open, they're there taking notes, the people that are going to ask questions, because this is where you start off good or you start off bad in terms of the life of the project and from a reporting aspect. So this here is a catalyst for you getting your wheels under you, having a full understanding of our program expectations, putting a face to the person that you're going to be working with in terms of the contract administrators, and just understanding what the true requirements are going to be moving forward. Section 3 covered contracts must include the new federal regulations, 24 CFR Part 75. Again, every contract that's in our department that should have come in since November 2020 must include 24 CFR Part 75. DR17 multifamily projects must include the workforce provision, Appendix 15. Appendix 15 relates to it requires that 10% of all labor hours performed on your project be performed by Section 3 workers. The Federal General Services Administrations, or SAMs, as we all know it, and the Texas Controller's search results for each contractor and subcontractor performing on the project is required at the execution of a contract and annually. Annually, you must supply a search result at the execution of the contract, and understand that on an annual basis, we will require search results for all of the contractors and subcontractors performing on your project. Ensure all contractors comply with numerical goals, reporting requirements, and review documents for accuracy before submitting. This is a point directly to owner developers, those who you have hired out to do compliance on your project, to ensure that the contractors comply with the numerical goals, reporting requirements, and review documents for accuracy before submitting. Remember, the onus for your project remaining in compliance rests with the person that HCDD, the entity that HCDD has contracted with. It does not rest with the compliance team. And so when your project is out of compliance, we're going to come back to you. So please ensure that your compliance team is fully aware of what the obligations are when it comes to reporting, when it comes to timeliness, when it comes to accuracy. Report and submit any contract changes and/or change orders in LCP Tracker. We will discuss LCP Tracker later on down, but LCP Tracker is our housing system for all compliance documents. We are reviewing LCP Tracker constantly, looking for your compliance items, looking to ensure that they're there on a timely basis. It is an extremely important tool that we use. And we appreciate those that are, doing what they're supposed to do in terms of submitting information on time, submitting information accurately. We sincerely appreciate you, and we ask that you just continue that going forward. Post the Section 3 signage on site in a size visible to the public. And I'm going to just show you an example of what that sign looks like. It is mandatory. And it should be forward facing. The public should be visible from the street. Anyone passing by should be able to see that this project has Section 3, is covered by Section 3 and has Section 3 requirements on it. And we're at our second trivia question for today. How often must a SAM of verification be conducted on a contractor? Can I get a few questions? Thank you for those who are participating. Yes, that's correct. It is annually. It is upon execution of a contract and annually. Compliance form packet. This portion of the presentation is broken down into contracts that are greater than 100,000 and those that are under 100,000, just to make it more clearer on what the requirements are for those two differing contract amounts. Recently, we issued a new compliance form packet along with Excel tools to assist compliance personnel teams with their reporting obligations. We sincerely hope that they have been useful to you, and we thank you for your patience as we got those out of the door. Our goal is not to make the reporting process complicated. And in fact, we're trying to find ways and better business practices to make it easier for you guys as well as us. So these are some of the forms that you guys would recognize. Again, I will reiterate, please ensure that you're using the most current compliance form packet. It is uploaded into LCP Tracker, and we constantly shoot those out to you whenever they've been tweaked in any way. And again, thank you for your patience as we have put out a few updates recently, but there's method to the madness. Again, it is to ensure that you guys are getting the tools that you need to ensure that tracking is being done correctly and to make this task easier for all of us. One moment, please. Compliance form packet for those contracts that are over the 100,000. Compliance forms must be submitted by contractors and subcontractors no later than 5 business days from execution of contract agreement. This has been a pain point, I think, for a lot of folks, and misunderstanding, miscommunication. We strongly encourage you to have your documents uploaded into LCP Tracker within 5 business days of execution of those contract agreements. Reason being, we have 30 days in the month. We're reporting on a monthly basis. We're reporting from reporting happens from the first of the month to the end of the month. If the information is in LCP Tracker in a timely manner within 5 business days, which isn't a lot to ask, we are able to accurately reflect on all those reports that are going out to HUD, that are going out to GLOW, exactly what is happening with the contracts here at HCDD. And so we really ask that you be mindful of the timing, that you're mindful of that 5 business days. We understand that, this is not the only thing that you're doing, and there's other work obligations, but where this is concerned, this is really a big one for us. And so we strongly ask and encourage you to ensure that the information is uploaded into LCP Tracker within 5 business days. One-time requirements for those who have contracts that are over 100,000. The compliance cover page. It captures vital information for the contractor and the subcontractor, and we use that to update your contracts in various systems. We use that compliance cover page to update your information in B2G as well as LCP Tracker. The start of work notice must be submitted when work commences. Sometimes we get start of work notices that have a to be determined date. We ask that you submit the start of work notice with an actual date. Request for contract subcontractor clearance. Verification that contractor or the subcontractor is eligible to perform on federally funded projects. And this form goes along with your SAM search results. The SAM search results must ensure contractors and contractors are not on the excluded parties list. And as we mentioned before, the SAM results are not only required upon execution of the contract, but it's also required annually. Contractor Section 3 compliance certification must be completed by the contractor or subcontractor acknowledging to abide with Section 3 regulations 24 CFR Part 75. Again, please do not sign and take contracts with the housing department lightly. When you take on this contract, you are assuming responsibility, you are acknowledging, you are attesting that you will abide by program rules and that you are acknowledging that you will. And so when we push back on you, when we're following up on numerical goals not being achieved and all of that, you have signed and said that you will comply and that you will give your best efforts to ensure that your project remains in compliance. And so please do not take it lightly. Permanent employee list. List of all employees that were employed prior to start of work, regardless if working on a particular project or not. This is submitted once unless a change occurs. First source hiring agreement. Agreement to adhere to Section 3 policies when hiring individuals. Workforce analysis form indicates the need or no need for a new hire. It's a forecast. Internal capacity affidavit. Affidavit should be submitted once and only if the subcontractor does not have a need for lower tier subs or new hires for the duration of the project. Termination of work. This is submitted at the end of the project. When you submit your when you submit that compliance form packet at the beginning with your contract, the termination of work does not need to be submitted because you're just starting. It will be submitted when that subcontractor or contractor has completed that work. Compliance form packet for those with that 100,000, your monthly requirements, your monthly obligations. Those that have a contract that is at 100,000 or exceeds, monthly, you're required to submit a Section 3 utilization plan. This utilization plan lists the subcontractors utilized monthly and or when changes occur on the project. The Section 3 utilization plan is different than the MWSBA utilization plan, which you will hear about in the next session. Please be mindful that Section 3 does not apply to is not applicable to suppliers. Therefore, suppliers should not be listed on your utilization plan. Please ensure that in completing your utilization plan that you're capturing all of that information at the top of the form. And we do realize that sometimes, trying to crunch out numbers and work out formulas could be, a little bit burdensome. And so we are currently working on getting an Excel version of the Section 3 utilization plan out to you guys. And so that way it makes it just a little bit easier, shaves off a little bit of your time on a monthly basis in getting that particular report populated and submitted to us in a timely manner. Monthly internal capacity report. It's an attestation of internal capacity status. If that status change, you must notify the prime contractor, who will in turn notify us here at HCDD. Monthly activity report captures hours worked by both Section 3 and non-Section 3 employees for the length of the project. This is required if and or until internal capacity is claimed. So essentially, if you are indicating that you are claiming internal capacity, it means that you have no one that's working for you, that subcontractor is doing all the work. You will only submit to us on a monthly basis the utilization plan and that internal capacity. If you are a subcontractor that has lower tier subs, what you're going to submit to us is going to be that utilization plan and the monthly activity report, along with our next fund report, which is the new report, the monthly labor hours and employee report. Now, this report was created to help to facilitate and track all of our efforts to comply with HUD's new rule as far as the labor hour goals is concerned. As you know, and as we've discussed previously, HUD now requires that 25% or more of all project labor hours be performed by Section 3 workers. This is required by all project types, and it was effective July 1, 2021. Contracts executed prior to July 1st, 2021 are only subjected to the 10% labor rule requirement. So we have provided for those who are currently working within the program. As you know, we provided an Excel spreadsheet as well as in the compliance form packet. There is two versions of this. There is a form that has a 25% labor goal. That's all populated with formulas that will calculate out for you that 25% and what that comes out to. And then there's a form for the 10. By now, I think you guys all know which projects are still remain under the 10 and which ones are under the 25. Anyone that's new on this call and presentation and you're looking to do business with the city, please understand that your contract will be subjected to the 25% labor rule. And this is just an example of what that reporting looks like. One of our superstars submitted, as you know, those who are working in the program, there are instructions given on that monthly labor hour report that kind of walks you through what it takes, what is necessary, the documents that you need that will grab those numbers for you, that you can get those numbers through LCP Tracker to populate this report. It's very intuitive, but again, our team is available to assist you and walk you through how this report should be populated. We understand that it's a learning curve for everybody, and so we welcome those calls. It actually, sharpens our skills as we assist you. Compliance form packet for those that are less than 100,000. So for those subcontractors and contracts that are less than 100,000, there is no monthly obligation. There is only one-time submissions. You will submit your contract. You will submit to us your SAM search results. That includes the business name, the owner name, its EIN number, the contractual agreement, and then the COSCA form. We call it COSCA form, but the formal name is Confirmation of Subcontractor Amount form, and that is found in the compliance form packet. This is what that form looks like. Again, please ensure that you're using the most current form. They look alike, but there are small tweaks that have happened on those forms. And so we want to make sure that we're not rejecting anything that you're sending in. Please use the most current forms that were issued to you. Single family requirements are a bit different than on multifamily projects with the city. And so subcontract agreements are required for every subcontract working on an address. A master contract agreement with purchase orders is also acceptable. General contractor must submit a first source hiring agreement, Section 3 compliance certification, permanent employee list, workforce analysis form, one time only. General contractor must conduct a SAM search on each contractor that performs on the project. General contractors will submit a contract cover sheet, utilization plan, start of work notice, and termination of work for every project assigned. Monthly reports following the month after their start of work date is required for each project as well. All subcontractors submit a confirmation of subcontractor form for each address. General contractor is to inform HCDD of any subcontracting or employment opportunities prior to awarding or hiring by forwarding an Ebid announcement or employment opportunity announcement form to our office for dissemination to our certified workers and business concerns. LCP Tracker auditing system. Following a pre-construction or kickoff meeting, a contract administrator will create a project profile and assign the prime contractor as the prime approver. The prime contractor will be responsible for setting up and assigning each subcontractor to the project in LCP Tracker. The prime contractor is set up to review each document submitted by the subcontractors for approval. LCP Tracker also has new features that captures labor hours for Section 3 workers. Periodically, our team issues notices to all compliance personnel teams, giving you up-to-date information on what's happening with LCP Tracker. For example, today, those working on projects would have received just a reminder notice about the importance of updating those Section 3 worker profiles in LCP Tracker and how that ties in to accurate reporting and those labor hour requirements. And this is just a page view of what you will see when you go into LCP Tracker. These are the steps. Again, no need to make note of this now. The presentation will be provided to you. And our third trivia question for today. Monthly compliance requirements are due to LCP Tracker at the last stage of reporting. Is this true or false? Can I get it? Everyone participating, I appreciate it. That is true. ACDD staff is only, well, yes, that answer was true. Contractors' performance. Ongoing monitoring. Now you're in the program. You have you've done that pre-construction meeting. You've had your one-on-one, and now it's ongoing monitoring. What we are expecting from you, what you should expect from us. Remote site visits. Currently, we are conducting remote site visits because of COVID. And just out of an abundance of cautions, we have reverted to remote site visits for the time being. When we do go out again, you will be notified accordingly. Remote site visits will be conducted to monitor project activities and contractors' participation. The prime contractor will be notified of any items identified as non-compliant with a time frame for correction by the 5th of every month. ACDD monitors are required to submit reports to the GLO and HUD quarterly and annually that captures new hires, executed contracts, and Section 3 businesses with construction and non-construction related contracts. And I just want to say, this is why your timely efforts are important. We are not only, we're not just handling this stuff internally. We are responsible. We have stakeholders outside of our department, namely the GLO and HUD, that we have to report to. And so we ask that you please submit your information on time, submit your information accurately, and so that we can show and prove that we're being good stewards of the program and that we're all compliant with program rules. Submission of required compliance documents in a timely manner is critical to ensure accurate and reliable reporting. So again, just a reinforcement of what I've said before. Compliance red flags. Unresponsive prime contractors and compliance administrative personnel. We really pride ourselves on the relationships that we have with the compliance team that we tend to work with, over and repeatedly. We've kind of developed a repertoire with them, and that actually makes the work easier. And so unresponsiveness really makes the job hard. And so that's a red flag for us. So we ask again, those individuals, owner developers who you have hired to perform compliance for you, please just make sure that they understand that the lines of communications need to be fluid and back and forth, just in an effort so that, we're all on top of what's happening with the project. We know what's going on when it comes time for those payment releases. We can clear up any issues. We have the right go-to person on record, that type of thing. Failure to submit change orders. Change orders are important. Those should be uploaded into LCP Tracker. Those should also be corrected. Those amounts should be corrected on your utilization plans. Failure to meet numerical goal requirements and demonstrate acceptable good faith efforts. Failure to submit timely required compliance documents. Compliance monitor conducts site visits and observe contractors performing that are not included on a utilization plan or have not submitted required compliance documents. So what you will see is you will get a notice from your assigned contract administrator saying, hey, this contractor is on site. We have no record of them. The expectation is that you will get that information uploaded, that contract agreement, those compliance form for that anonymous subcontractor within 2 business days. That's the expectation. There should be no subcontractors performing on your project that we do not have record of. Contractors don't submit timely corrective action. Again, the expectation is we're trying to build and foster great working relationships with you guys. We're working on these projects from start to finish. And so we ask that you be cognizant and mindful of timely submissions. Untimely submissions is an absolute red flag. Substantial noncompliance. Payment withholding, and these are potential consequences for your project being in noncompliance. Payment withholding. If contractors fail to comply with program requirements, the compliance monitor will withhold payment drawers, and we will withhold those payment drawers until the items that are being requested are provided, they're reviewed and approved. Termination of the contract. If contractors fail to comply with the terms of the contract documents, HCDD will temporarily suspend or terminate the contract at any time. Suspension, debarment, suspension, or limited denial of participation. Upon termination, HCDD will also include contractors on a nationwide debarment and suspended list of contractors. Please act accordingly. Closeout evaluation. So in a perfect world, you have matriculated through your project, you went through the program, we're all still happy, and now we're at the closeout evaluation. And in a perfect world, you're going to achieve and have a successful closeout in that you've complied with all program rules. What our closeout evaluation looks like is you will get you're in compliant with numerical goal requirements, and you're in compliant with our compliance requirements. That is all those documents that you've been submitting into LCP Tracker. All the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. All those termination of works are in, those start of works are in with the correct date on it. It doesn't have a to be determined. Those utilization plans are submitted. They include every subcontractor that's working on your project. It has the right amounts on those contracts. You've accounted for all of those change orders. All of that information is in there, and we can go down that list and we can tick off that this project has done what it was supposed to do and that you guys have honored your contractual obligations. Substantial noncompliance, however, is when subcontractors' compliance with program rule requirements will be included in the prime contractor's evaluation rating. Deficiencies may be corrected within 14 business days of notice following a closeout evaluation. Lack of action will be deemed as a contractor's inability or unwillingness to correct any deficiencies. So even when we've gotten to that stage and you have not meet those contractual obligations, you have not submitted all the items that I've listed previously, we're still, again, at this point, still giving you an opportunity to kind of bring those things in compliance. Obviously, we don't want to get to this point. We want to make sure that all of these things are already done. And so we don't get to this point. But if we do, this is the process that the closeout evaluation will go through. Resources link. And these are a few links that you are able to refer to where you can get more information, more granular detail on what I've discussed today. Again, no need to make note of this now because the presentation will be provided to you after all of today's sessions. And with that, are there any questions? Okay, if there are no questions, I'd like to once again thank each of you for attending and participating in today's session. I especially appreciate everyone that jumped in and answered questions for me. Thank you so much. We will have a short 10-minute intermission followed by MWSPE's Talisha Clark at 10:30. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for attending and have a wonderful day.